Everybody, how's it going? My name's Joe.
I'm also Joe.
Welcome back to SNES is Life. This is recap episode number 74, I do believe. We're going to be covering Rocko's Modern Life, S.O.S, Time Trax, Super Goal 2, and Ultima VI, The False Prophet. So let's get started. Rocko's Modern Life. I loved Rocko's Modern Life as a kid. It was a cartoon on Nickelodeon, one of the Nicktoons, and it was hilarious. It was most kids' cartoons have like some adult themes in it. This dude legitimately, like on TV, worked at a phone sex hotline. It was hilarious. As a kid, I was like, that seems weird, because like one episode starts out and he's at work and he's like, oh yes, I am hot, hot, hot for you. Rocko's Modern Life, though, he has this stupid dog named Spunky that always gets into trouble in the show. And this entire game, is an escort quest. You have to somehow get Spunky from one side of the level to the next and not let him die in the middle, which is horribly difficult and an awful, awful, awful concept for a game. The animation looked fine, and the sprite work and graphics were okay. Like, it looked spot on for the old Rocko. And the music was alright. The sound was okay. But the gameplay was just absolute garbage.
Yeah, I was not here for a lot of this game.
You're lucky.
And I came back. I think you were still in this level.
Oh, yeah, I don't... Like, the first... There's like 5 worlds or something, but each world consists of like 4 levels. And I don't think I made it out of World 1. Like, it was awful. Not good.
I came back, and you were like, here, try this. And I could not get anywhere in it.
Not getting out of World 1 is going to become a theme with this week.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
Next up, S.O.S, Save Our Ship. This was graphically not particularly impressive. The music was good, but what really gets this game is the concept of it.
I really like the concept.
The concept is awesome. So the idea is you're on this ocean. You're on the Titanic, basically. It gets hit by a monster wave, capsizes, flips over upside down. You now have to find your way off of the ship, but you're walking around on the ceilings. You're hoping to find some survivors along the way and rescue them. There are actually different endings based on... There are 4 different characters you can pick to play as, and each one saves different people. And depending on how many people you save, you get a good or bad ending. The problem with this game is it's timed. And at certain intervals, the ship will list. It will tilt. And so suddenly you're not walking flat anymore, you're walking up. And that makes certain areas accessible or inaccessible. And eventually... Right. I fell off the ladder and died. And eventually... Yeah, and you lose 5 minutes every time you die. Eventually there's water that starts getting in the ship, and then you have to like swim under to areas and stuff. The big issue with this game is not so much the timer... but the listing mechanic, where the ship tilts and it gets really hard to get places, combined with a bad level map. So
yeah, it is
awful.
The world's most confusing map. You don't show up on your map if you choose the character with a map until you get out of the
first area, basically.
I wouldn't call it the first area. It's like the employees only areas.
Yeah.
Where all of the workers would be, or like the engineers would be controlling the ship.
And what's worse, there's the electricity going out.
Once you're out of there, you get into the main area of the boat, where you show up on the map, but the map is right side up, and you can't turn the map upside down.
Which is
so you have to deal with it being upside down, and then every every door leads to another door. Most of them lead back off the map. We found
really annoying.
A full map of it online,
and it is like what doors go to what.
Confusing map
and
I think I've looked at in a while.
And that's assuming you pick the character who has the map, because the other 3 characters don't have a map at all. And it's such a labyrinth that it's a really, really neat concept. And I'm certain that there are people who back in the day made the map and figured out what went where.
Yeah.
And God bless them, because I can't do it. Like... We just basically wandered around watching the electricity go on and off and dying a million times when we fell from... And you don't have to fall very far to die in this. So it was a really neat concept, but ultimately we gave it thumbs down because without a map or a walkthrough, even if you make your own map, and if you make your own map, that's a lot of trial and error to be like, what door goes to where?
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's getting up to the top and then still entering those doors.
Right. Like, it's pretty awful. So, cool idea. Not, I don't know, not performed or not brought about as well as it could have been, I think. But neat. Time Trax, based off a 1990s sci-fi show. You are a time cop sent back in time to get some bad guys who went back in time to avoid the law, and they're all working for a big bad guy who's trying to take over the world from the past.
This game kind of sucked. It wasn't good.
It wasn't awful.
It wasn't awful, no.
It
wasn't good.
It was what I would describe as super mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, it was totally playable. Like, it wasn't something that was awful. We didn't get trapped in the first area. I think we got to, like, the 4th stage or something. I don't remember how many stages there are.
For a game based off of a TV show, it held up.
That's the thing. For a licensed properties like Rocko are so often just garbage. This one was...
It was okay.
This was recycling. Instead of garbage, it was recycling. Like, it's still garbage. Slightly better. There were some problems with the play. Like, graphically, everything's kind of muddy and spudgy looking. It's okay. It's acceptable. The music was okay. Also acceptable. The controls were a little wonky, especially when one of the bosses is a helicopter and you're on, like, a motorcycle.
Ooh,
Remember
that boss just sucked.
That was awful. We died a number of times on him because we're trying to, like, shoot at an angle and then shoot up, and the helicopter's moving all over, dropping bombs on you. And that's just a limitation of the controls. You know, you can shoot forward at that angle or straight up, and you have to hit, like, the helicopter was broken into, like, 15 different, like, hit boxes. And you had to somehow get all those hit boxes, and it was just kind of hard to line those shots up. And I think that's the biggest issue with the game was lining shots up. But it was neat. You know, you can hang. There was hanging mechanics, and you could jump around. And my question is, the bad guy, this is the boss, operating the machine. You have to shoot the gun. But literally the dude operating the machine is right there. Why would you not just be like, you're dead?
I don't know.
Just saying, that's another thumbs down. God damn it. Super good. 2. Soccer. We got soccer here. Soccer.
This, I think, Super Goal is the other soccer game we have thumbsed up, and it is because it did such a good job at feeling more like an arcade game.
Yes. It's still simulation in so much as, like, you could play, like, a full season of soccer and go for the World Cup.
Absolutely, but if you take off fouls, take off backside, back passing, whatever... then you don't have to worry about anything. You're just playing soccer. You just pass the ball, kick the ball in the goal.
Yes.
And it passed the time very quickly, surprisingly.
Agreed. So the graphics are
okay,
average to mediocre. Like, the sprites aren't anything amazing.
There's a lot of sprites to deal with, and there was no slowdown, so I commend that.
The ball has nice visibility. You can pick, like, 5 different colors. You can do traditional white, orange, purple, blue, or green, which I thought was kind of cool.
I think the ball we're using in here is red. So.
Yeah, orange, red, whatever. So that was kind of neat. You could pick, like, 4 different stadiums. Although I don't know, other than the snow field, I think the other 3 stadiums were still just green.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually changed anything about the game. The controls were okay. So the thing this game had going for it is, like you said, it passed the time very quickly. The halves were only like 5 minutes. The passing and shooting was pretty on par. Everything felt quick. That's a real key that a lot of these old soccer games didn't hold up well. Same with football games. They slow. Everything moved so slow. But it's supposed to be a sport. It's supposed to be active, action. And this game was very, like you said, arcade feeling. It was very fast. The biggest complaint to lodge about this game is selecting the character.
Yeah.
So, What'd you say it was? When
I figured it out. When you have, like, let's say I have 4 characters on screen, and I have the second one selected. I have one here, 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 and here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It goes clockwise as you press R, and counterclockwise as you press L. So if this one is selected, and I want to get to this one way over here,
You have to go through one other.
I have to go through however many players are in between them before I can get there.
And it's, oh, look, we got a raid during the stream. So that was really irritating. And both shoulder buttons did it. It just did it the opposite direction.
Yep.
And I think they really could have been like, look, maybe one shoulder button does the rotation, but then the other shoulder button could have taken you directly to the player closest to the ball. Would have made a tremendous difference in this to me. But we did give it a thumbs up. We enjoyed it. It was a fun soccer game.
It was a fun soccer game. And it was especially cool that it had music.
Yes, it did have music the entire time.
And I think it's probably going to be becoming a common theme with sports game as we get further in.
I would hope that, it becomes much more common. So, but yeah, Super Goal 2, that's a thumbs up. If you're on board with soccer games, we think that this one's probably worth a look. Finally, Ultima VI, The False Prophet. I wasn't here. This is all Joey. He played this game. Let's hear it.
To start out, you are a guy who has completed your quest. You've completed your story and moved away from your place called Britannia.
Britannia.
And you get homesick, so you try to go back, but the portal is no longer blue like it used to be. It's red. And so you go, oh, that's weird. And then you walk through the portal anyway. You get attacked by a bunch of gargoyles who try to sacrifice you, and your friends come and save you. And then you go and talk to the king of Britannia, Lord Britain.
Lord Britain of Britannia.
And he basically heals you, tells you the story of, like, this is your quest, go find the 10 moonstones.
Kill the
blah,
devil.
blah, blah, yeah. And he's like, I have a room in here for you guys you can sleep the night through, and I have, like, a heal ability that fully heals your party.
Okay, so it heals you.
And he's like, there's a key somewhere in here, and all of the equipment around the castle is for you.
A key somewhere? He couldn't even just give it to you? Like, you're in the guy's castle.
So you go around, and there's a bunch of equipment, like a bunch of things you can take. Pretty much anything you see on a table,
you can grab.
Takeable.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, and it'd be great if it had a dedicated button to interact with things, but instead you have one button that you control with that is not the D-pad, and it is A, and it opens a menu. And the menu has your inventory, it has the talk button, the look button, the attack, cast, camp, and save. And you are 99% of the time going to be using talk, look, and inventory.
So what you're saying is it's kind of menu heavy.
Yes, it is. It is very menu heavy until you get into combat.
Okay. There's your inventory screen.
Yep, that's the inventory where you get the rest of the abilities. You can give an item that you have in one person's inventory to another. You can move items in your inventory.
Good God.
You can reorder the order of your team, or you can use an item in your inventory.
Prunk, Dupree, Shimino, and Iolo. Did you name them?
I only named Prunk. Gotcha. Which I think is very funny. But, like, I went around, found a bunch of armor, found a bunch of stuff, found the key that I needed, found a key that I didn't need.
Okay.
It took me a while to find the key that I needed, though. So I found the key I didn't need, walked around every single door I could find and tried to unlock it. It didn't work on any of them.
God.
Then I found the key that I did need, walked around and unlocked every single door in the castle, because that one key unlocks every door.
Oh, Jesus.
And there's a whole dungeon underneath the castle. I ended up dying down there, and this is a good progress thing. It saved my progress. I got level 3, and it just, when I died, it just sent me back to the king.
Okay.
Which I was like, okay, I'm not that upset about that. But I gave up on going down there and just left the castle. But that was the end of my hour. So
oh my God.
I spent an hour trying to figure out how to leave the castle, because it may be hard to see on the video, because it was hard to see in real life. There are like the brown doors that are made of wood, and then there are metal doors that are about the exact same color as the wall. At least to me, who is colorblind, they are the exact same color as the wall.
Funny.
And so at the front of the castle, there are 3 doors. One of them is like a guard door. The second one leads to the lever that controls the gate. And the middle one is the gate. But the middle one is the only one that is obviously a door. And every other door you try to use a key on says
No.
This key doesn't go here. But the gate doesn't say that. It says no effect. So you're like, okay, so this is the right key. Why is this not having no effect? But anyway, many gripes about the game. Graphically,
looks pretty mediocre.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I liked it graphically except for the floor. The floor designs were kind of bad, especially outside the grass design. Awful.
I think I like the Final Fantasy sprites better.
Yes.
They look chunkier and a little more kiddie. These are kind of spindly and
yes, definitely.
I like Final Fantasy look better.
I like that as you equip things, it changes. So, like,
really?
At some point, I changed Shimino from a leather helm to a chain coif, and it made his character sprite go from having a brown cap to having a silver cap.
That's cool.
Which I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of
Yeah,
effort.
the Final Fantasy characters never change their looks at all.
Right, and it was not as boring, repetitive combat because you only commanded one person. You could command all of them. It gave you that choice.
Ugh.
I did not. I just set it to the presets. The tank just ran straight in, and Shimino and Iolo flanked, which was fine, and then I controlled Prunk. And thank God it has this. You have a move option, which can move you one slot. That's your turn.
Okay.
You have an attack option, which you can choose who to attack as long as they're one spot around you. Great.
Okay.
And you have auto, which if you're not next to an enemy, will move you closer to the enemy. And if you are next to the enemy, it'll choose the strongest enemy and attack it. That's it. So you could theoretically get through this game just pressing auto.
That would be nice.
Right.
Assuming
So
that
it
you're
was not-
leveled and have the equipment to deal with it.
Right. It is not as repetitive combat-wise. So it was like I could see myself playing more of this. I would not go out of my way to get it. Sound was actually decent. There was different music for each like room. Or not every room, but like the
section.
Yeah, the big place had its own music. Outside of the big place had its own music. Outside had its own music, and then the dungeon had its own music. And it wasn't bad music.
Okay. Yeah, I don't particularly care for the look of it. Obviously, I didn't play it, but I mean, you're saying thumbs down.
I gave it a thumbs down.
Yeah, that's not a real shock. Everybody should be aware at this point, if they've been watching this for 300 episodes, that we're not the biggest JRPG style fans. It's not that we aren't RPG fans. We're just action RPG fans. You give me some Fallout, some Skyrim.
Zelda.
I'm on board with. Zelda's not an RPG.
Really? I thought
It is
Link
not.
to the Past
it
was
is,
considered an RPG.
no.
Really?
There's no stats.
I guess.
You get different equipment, but you don't have stats or level ups. You just get hearts and more gear.
Would Breath of the Wild be considered an RPG? You know what? This isn't the conversation.
No, I don't think any of them are. Except maybe Link's Adventure. Link 2, I think, might have been RPG-ish. But I don't remember, honestly, because I've never finished that game, and I've probably never played more than an hour in my life. So that's it, though. So 4 thumbs down and 1 thumbs up, which is real disappointing. But what are you going to do? That's just the way the cookie crumbles out sometimes. So, yeah, episode 74 done and recapped. And now we move on to the next 5 games. So that's it. Thanks, guys, for checking us out and watching all the recap videos and staying with us for ever so long. We're on, like, year 4 of this, I think. When did we start this? You were, like, 17, weren't you?
My sophomore year.
I thought it was junior year. Either way, it's been, like, 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years. All right, but that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Check us out in the future.
Yeah, we're going on year 5.
We'll see y'all.
See you guys.